Hi everyone, welcome to Designers Brew. We have Ekta Parekh in the house today, and I'll hand over to you, Ekta, for a little introduction about you. And you've been in practice for a long time. I've seen some of your work, which is amazing. So please, let's start with a little bit about you and your acrylics. Yeah.
Thank you for having me. And I think before this formal chat, we've had a lovely personal conversation, which has been really fulfilling.
Thank you for being here.
So yes, I'm one of the 3 partners at Red. There's Rajiv and Maithili who are partners with me. And it's a studio that's been around since 2004. So it's been a while. Yeah. We started out like everybody does on a living room table somewhere in an old apartment and have grown to now a team of 65 plus people, which is lovely and heartwarming. Of course, I think innovation has been something that we hold very dearly. And I think the diversity of scale of practice, whether it's architecture or interiors or product or urban design, is something that we're really passionate about. So I think as a firm, Red really believes in collaboration and the power of diversity. So
and also very beautifully transforming spaces with some functional art, and I think that's a big part of your work.
Yes, it is. And I think it happened by chance. Yeah. And I think, like we were speaking earlier about apartment sizes in Bombay, we are limited to what we have, right? True. The palette is such. Yeah. And I think one of the first few things that happened was that people have larger aspirations than square footage.
Very true.
Right? Which always happens, no matter what your square footage is. And we're realizing this in larger homes that we're doing in Nagpur and Kanpur.
And it remains, huh?
Right? It remains. It could be a 30,000 square foot house, and I'll have somebody say, but we don't have space for this. And I'm like, really? Is that really what you're saying to me?
That is true. Yeah.
But I think what worked was the fact that you take a space and you say, okay, these are my primary uses of it. And what of it cannot, but it doesn't need to be permanent. Like people love investing in guest rooms.
True.
But those guest bedrooms get occupied maybe twice a year, for 2 weeks, 1 week. And you've left a whole room out to that. And it's doing nothing for you. So I think it came from that. It came from seeing that you need to have maybe a meditation space or a space to work out or a painting studio. And how can we transform this extra bedroom into a multi-purpose space which can
makes so much sense, right? Yeah. And I think a lot of extra space in the house, like the guest rooms, and in bigger houses, I think you'd have 2+ guest rooms, right?
Yes.
And I think it's such a bright idea to have something like a painting space or a meditation room. We don't even think about it, but if you could, and I think that's where Red always stands out for me. When I see the way you design, when I see the way the design flows, it always has more than just a dedicated zone, but it's more functional. Like I think it's always magic. Something is moving somewhere, and I love that about it. So thank you for that. Thank you for being here, and thank you for a lovely introduction. So we'll start with a show today, and it says, I don't design pretty homes, I design how people feel. I think that's what we've been talking about.
Yes, absolutely.
So let's get started, and let's see what we have to learn from you today. Okay. So, before we talk about homes, tell me this. When someone enters a space, do you think their mind reacts before their body? And how do you design for that first unconscious reaction?
So, if it's a bare shell or if it's a ready space?
Ready space.
Yes, I think subconsciously there is a gravitational towards history. I think, it's like when you enter a space, you come from a certain background, you come from a certain level of influence. And I think for me, if I enter a space, I will immediately be drawn to art and objects, right? It's something that just comes intuitively. So by default, you will start moving in that direction. For somebody else, I know for Rajiv, it's about mechanics. If things are moving, shifting, he's a big gears person, right? With Maithili, it's color, right? So I think each of us come from a certain history or a background, which lies in our subconscious. And I think that's what we like to do with our clients, where when they walk into a space, and even if it's a bare shell, sometimes it's a framing with a view. True. It's like, what am I looking at? And it may not always be a sea face, because as you know, Bombay seafront is becoming few and far between.
Very true.
Today it's a seafront apartment, tomorrow it can't be.
I agree,
So it's always about what view that frames. What am I looking at from there? So some people will gravitate towards that. And that generally becomes something that we start with. It becomes a starting point of conversation, starting point for, let's sit here and see where this goes.
That's lovely.
And then it's about pouring in the memories and pouring in the experiences into the space.
Okay. So we instinctively lean, pause, and avoid or gravitate towards certain corners in a house, as we were talking about, right? So when you're designing a layout, how much of these unspoken body moments shape the emotional flow of the home?
So I think first starts with conversation for us. What happens is, it's like if you and me sit down and say, okay, we want to design a home. It's a deep conversation. It's not just about requirements, saying I want 5 bedrooms, you know, this, that. It's not numbers. It's about who you are. And I think we want to encourage experience, right? What do you want to feel? How do you want to be? So I've had people who say, I love to paint, since we were talking about painting studios. But I don't have the space to paint. So we would automatically, in a plan, not start with zoning of, say, areas, saying, because this will happen. I mean, of course we'll do a kitchen, of course we'll do sleeping spaces,
Absolutely.
of course
They're
we'll
the basic
do
5.
Basic 5, right? But what are these aspirations which we want to account for, which otherwise get ignored? So you start with the painting studio. Okay, if I make the painting studio the hub of this space, then what happens around it?
And that becomes the heart of the house,
And
right?
that becomes the story
and
behind
maybe
it.
that's where the resident kind of, the person who owns it, goes and finds his solace or his corner.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think the pride also that comes with the fact that this is my space in totality. And we do it with kids too. We like to sit down with the, you know, the little ones in the home and say, okay, what do you think about your home? What do you want? And they'll tell us the most bizarre things.
Oh my God.
And the beauty is to try and be that child and accommodate that, because then it's a story which is worth remembering.
So I always say this, like, designers are psychologists, right? More psychologists than anything, because you're reading the psyche of maybe 5 different members in a house and creating a solace corner or a solace space for them, right?
We're sometimes therapists also, where we're trying to...
More therapists. I agree. Yeah, I know, like, it's so hard. Like, you're going multi-generation. You're going from like a 12-year-old to a 80-year-old, right? And you're making sure everyone's happy with that one space.
Yeah, true.
Super. So how do you build a bridge between the clients once upon a time and the right now?
So this is maybe I'll give you an example. We were doing a home, multi-generation home. And one of the things that the client wanted was to have an ode to the ancestors that they came from, right? So they lived with their parents. They were the middle, like a middle generation, and then the kids. But of course, there are grandparents and great-grandparents and all of that. And they wanted to have some sort of a space to commemorate this. So we did it at the entrance. And what we did was to kind of use, everybody does photographs, right? It's by default, you do a family photo wall and stuff like that. And you'll do these beautiful old black and whites, or you'll do sepias. We said, let's change it around a little bit. Everybody has a story. And let's play on the importance of that story. So if the grandfather used to use a particular walking stick, and they probably keep it, because once the person passes away or is, you have something. So it was an exercise in collecting memories of people. And so we collected a cane from the grandfather, an old pair of spectacles from the great-grandmother, a notebook where some, grand aunt used to write. So it became this whole memorabilia. And then at the entrance, which is your vestibule, where you would, as a typical Indian home, either take off your shoes or wear your shoes. It's a moment of pause, which everybody experiences. You kind of put these up in different formats as a part of the living space, which was a lot of fun and a lot of conversation. Because, when you're going to drop people, typical Indian goodbyes are 10 minutes at the door.
I agree.
So you stand there, and then there's always, oh, look at this, and oh, look at that. And if it's a member of the family, there's always, oh, remember they used to do this.
Oh my God.
Or if it's somebody who's come as a friend, it's like, oh, what is this about? Tell me the story behind this medallion, or, So I think that helps you move away from being stuck, but also just to celebrate memory in a way.
That is really beautiful. I don't think there could be a better answer or better way to do it. And listen, these are the things which are so unique as well, right? These are heirlooms, right? Which have walked over the generations.
Absolutely.
And you just have those people right there in those
that space. And it would be so sad to see it tucked away in some closet, keeping it safely,
So keep the valuable things in a valuable way.
Right, exactly.
It's amazing. I love this. So so my next question is, when somebody's changing new phase, new identity, or new rhythm, can you see it in the way they want to live? Like, do they come with an aspiration of a newer lifestyle? And how does that translate physically into the space?
So I think everybody comes with that. Sometimes, of course, it's people who have been through heartache, you know, the reality is divorces, separations, and they want to start afresh. But we also have, of course, people who come from homes that they live in because, you know, say you've just gotten married into that home. But you have an aspiration for what your home needs to be.
Live a certain way.
Right? You want it to live a certain way. You want to have things you want to entertain in a particular way. And I think it's very important to adhere to those aspirations, but also to understand what they are. So literally, I think it's some mind mapping of what you do on a daily basis. Like when you wake up, what do you do? Like, is it, you know, some people will go for a smoke on the pot. Some people will want tea in bed. Some people will want to read the newspaper. And it's literally a mapping of movement of this person through the day in the home. And it's because it's generally a larger family, minimum 3 to 4. It's a mind mapping of everybody and where they converge and where they diverge. And then the space sort of builds itself from there. Because then it becomes like, oh, I've always wanted to. I mean, I'll give you another really funny example. We were doing this multi-generational home where the grandfather was a smoker. And his kids knew, and so did his grandkids. But he obviously never smoked in the house and in front of them out of respect. So he used to go down, go 2 blocks out, and then smoke in his, you know, late 70s. And I was like, you don't need to do that. You should be able to, you know, light up in your room. So we found a duct. So he goes into this bathroom, goes out into the duct. We cleaned that space. Built in a green, sort of artificial green turf. Put an exhaust fan over there so that the smell doesn't last. Put in a separate freshener. So now every morning he can get up and he can go there for a smoke.
His 70-year-old soul would be blessing you.
Isn't it? But imagine, it's a simple aspiration and a simple ask. But it sometimes doesn't even come out when you sit with the family. It has to be that one-on-one quiet interaction where he didn't even tell me. He told Rajiv because it was almost like, you know, this is what I need to do.
I think it's like a gift to the client. No?
Yes,
like
absolutely.
When you're building like this, you're literally giving them a gift of a lifetime.
True.
And that's why they say that homes look like so simple and straight, but they're the most important parts of our life. That's where we co-create, that's where we laugh, that's where we cry, that's where we have our secret corners, and thank God for the designers, right?
For that.
So you worked across luxury homes and community-driven projects. Which experience most clearly showed you that good design can change lives? And you did mention one example now, which I believe might have really changed his life, but regardless of the budget, you know.
So funnily enough, we did a project for this family. I was building a home in Alibag for them. It's a family of bibliophiles. So father, mother and son used to read like crazy.
Wow.
And so they wanted a house. We call it the library house. And
lovely. I love the name. There's also a book, right? It's called the Midnight Library.
Yes,
reminds me of
there
that.
is.
Yeah,
yes,
lovely.
yes.
Yeah.
So the way of the plan has worked out that the library of the home is in the center. It's inspired from the Bibliothèque Nationale, where you take the book spines and you make your elevation of the home from that. So,
wow.
And it's a center space right next to the pool, so you always see it. So I was doing that home. And the woman of the family was involved in a lot of these 7 NGOs. And she came up to me and said, listen, I know that you do these luxury projects and I know that you do a lot of offices again, which are high-end. I have a simple project, but I think that your heart is in the right place, so I feel like we should be able to do this together. It's the Streets Children's Project in near Baikala. It's a shelter which takes in street children for the day. They didn't have facility to let them stay, but they take him in through the day because the parents are like daycare, because the parents are, you know, sadly begging or doing menial things. And it's a space where they come in the morning, come from 8 to 8 literally. Meals are taken care of. When the kids are younger, education is taken care of. If older girls are coming in, they put them into some sort of a vocational kind of training, either it's computers or it's sewing or it's whatever. And I said, you know, I have to do this. And she's like, but we can't afford to pay you a lot. And I'm like, don't pay me anything, just cover my costs, because I think it's a great cause. And then we got a whole bunch of people to donate things to build, you know, just tiles and simple things, to make it a shelter for kids who can stay. Because a lot of times, the scary part was these kids go into this environment in the mornings, and the night they're living on the street. And while it's sad, but it's also unsafe, right? You have so many elements who are
True, out on the road.
Out on the roads, not safe, young girls getting picked up.
Yeah.
So these are real life problems. And I think just to be able to make a difference in those few people, I mean, they had accommodation to take in 100 kids. And I'm like,
which is,
even if it's 2 kids and you're
even if
making
it's
a
one
difference,
life,
yes,
you can add to.
Exactly.
So this is truly life changing.
Absolutely life changing. And I think it was diametrically opposite of what I was doing for their home. But I think it was great. It was great in terms of contribution to both.
Beautiful. It's like what you give is comes back in some
beautiful way or the other.
I'm really moved. This is amazing. So what architectural lighting kit do you use to make sure that the house feels warm and golden from inside out, even on a cloudy day?
So I think I'm a Nazi when it comes to technical lighting. It has to be 3000 Kelvin or less. It cannot be more. When I also have lighting vendors who come and say, ma'am, we can do,
tunable.
I'm like, the word tunable should not exist. So it's a big education. And I do think that I know where parents come from, right? The older generation, which has been used to white light. Forget 4000, 6000 Kelvin because they believe they can't see unless it's... And all I tell them is live with it. If you're not comfortable, for whatever reason, I'll change it. I'll change it at my cost, but live with it. Trust me, the lux level is the same. You just need to get used to softness. So it's, I've been successul most times, but I have also struggled a few times. I've had to change lights. But I think it just changes the way the space looks. You know,
but I like the brand promise. You know, I'll change it, but keep it.
Keep it.
Because I think all it takes is a habit change. And I think that's what people are not ready for. So what you're promising is helping them give it a shot. Like, just try it. How do you know it until you do it?
And I always say, it's not bright enough. So I actually have a lux meter which goes there and says, this is your white light. This is the lux levels exactly same. You're just not used to the softness of light, which is actually better for your eye. Everything will look better.
I mean, and I think if you were to create an ambience in a space, and someone could just take the shade of the light up by 2000 Kelvin, you're like, oh my God, like, what did you do?
True.
Okay, great. So this brings us to a rapid fire round, and you have to be fast and quick, and just the first thing that comes to you, no thinking time. Okay. So let's see how you do. Somebody's timing you there.
Oh my God, do I get a hamper now?
You get a hamper as well. Okay, so what's your favorite perfectly imperfect item that you refuse to get rid of?
My coffee machine. It's dysfunctional, it's falling apart, it's a mocha pot. Rajiv has this big grinder and fabulous machine, but I refuse to move to it.
Okay, and if you bottle an Ekta Parekh space, what's the scent? This is my favorite question, by the way. Passion. Okay. One pretty trend you wish could disappear tomorrow?
Boucle fabric. It's gorgeous, but I think it's overdone.
Secretly, I agree. Okay, what's the one sentence from a client that makes you want to scream in a pillow? Sorry for making you think of it again, but yeah.
Can we have more options? Yes.
Fair, Living forever in the 70s disco house or an 80s neon office? Pick one.
70s disco house.
I thought so. Okay. A house is just a building, but what is the one thing that makes it a home?
It's done with your heart. You know, you put your heart into it and passion, and I think it changes.
Pieces of you in it.
Yes. It's memory, it's all of that.
It's perfect, What's the ultimate design sin you secretly enjoy?
This is a tough one. So endless reel scrolling, but not on design pages. It's all kinds of art pages, sports pages.
Okay. And what's the most insane luxury feature you've ever installed that actually worked, which you thought, it's a maybe, may not be?
So we have a client whose refuge floor we were doing. And they had, like I said, more aspiration than square footage as usual. But it also had to be multifunctional. They wanted to party, so they wanted it to be like a disco. But at the same time, they wanted to be able to be poker and pool, and also have seating to chat, and also have dining.
Wow.
Everything.
That's like asking God.
It was everything, I'm telling you. It was. I had said you should have just bought the apartment right? But
Yeah.
it was a parking, whatever, refuge floor.
Yeah.
What we did was we did a platform which was about, I think, 20 feet by 20 feet in size, completely hydraulically controlled. So we actually got gears which do these hydraulic platforms for hangers and things like that.
Hydraulic as in it kind of went up
Yes,
and down.
so it moves. So you have the height. They had a double height volume. So when they're entertaining in a cozier format, you can have the lounge space underneath. You can have a dining space which is slightly across. And the upper space becomes a games area.
Wow.
But if it needs to transform into a nightclub, that whole space just goes up. You get the volume and you have an LED screen that opens up and pumps.
Wow.
Which
I want to see this space.
Yes. It's not up on our Instagram yet, but soon.
Super. I'll look forward to that. Super. This brings us to the end of our show. Ekta, you were phenomenal.
Thank you. You were great.
Fastest on your rapid fire. I think you're like sharp and ready and so intuitive, and it's like you just know. You know
I mean,
yourself.
it's me, so it's
it's perfect. So thank you for being here and thanks for watching. I think I truly enjoyed my conversation here.
Thank you for having me.
You all too. Thank you for being here. Thank you. Loved it. See you soon. Ciao. Okay, we have the momentous signing from you, Ekta. You have to sign our coffee mug. And this is our first coffee brew for 2026. So yay! Lovely. Thank you.